The Vasad from Ancient Gamers here with another quick tutorial on how to utilize the character customization system in Atavism to create your own modular character. Let's say you bought Character Creator 4. This is or DES or any one of the other character creator systems. Today we're going to focus on Character Creator 4. And let's say that you want to go ahead and get this character into the system and you want to make sure it will work properly in the game environment. So we're going to go through that process today on how to load up a character, change it over into a game character, and then split it up so that the character customization system can actually utilize it properly as a modular character. You don't have to do this with the modular character system, but it helps break it up and replace the items a little bit easier and swap out your gear items when you swap an item in. So that way you don't have meshes that are not seen in the scene. So that way you can hide those meshes or make them disappear. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to load up the neutral base, or you could go ahead and go file and open a project if you have any projects that you're working on in there, or you can create whatever you want from your characters and your actors. So whatever you do, you're going to start with something that's in the scene. So we're going to start with the neutral base because it is the easiest solution and I don't have to deal with anything. And we'll stick on some clothes so that we don't have to deal with any nudity for very long. And yeah, and then so we'll just go through this process. So the first thing we'll do is add some clothing on here so that we can get rid of this naked person, and we're going to put just some basic underwear on so that we don't have to see the naked person. So we are now ready at this point to start processing this character. So the first thing that we want to do, if we want to break it up into individual items like the modular character system works with, then we'd want to separate out just the head, the hands, the lower arms, the upper arms, the torso, the upper legs, the lower legs, and the feet. These are all parts that the modular system works with and will load and unload as you load gear. So you can hide these parts too as you load gear to make things easier on the processor of your game. We don't want all of these meshes in the scene all the time because it's a lot of video processing on your video card. And we want to make sure that we have none of these in the scene to have as seamless of a game that we present to our end users. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over and we're going to edit this mesh. Um, and we're going to split this mesh up into a couple of things. And I'm only going to do this a couple of times because it's just a process that you can repeat once you have this done. So in your scene, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hide all of the objects. You select your entire object, and then you're going to come down here and you're going to hit this hide object. And that'll hide anything that you've selected within here, and we'll see the body disappear here in a second. And the reason why we want to do this is we don't want any of these objects in the scene, but we need the skeleton. The skeleton is the most important aspect of this process because this is actually what tells the system where to put everything. We're even going to hide the boxers because at this point we don't need anything in the scene other than our empty character. So this character, we're going to go ahead and then go to File, Export, FBX, Clothed Character. We're going to select Mesh, embed textures. You can or can, it's up to you. You can set the max texture size if you want. Otherwise, it'll just export it out to the thing. This is the most important part, is clicking this delete hidden faces button. Because when you delete hidden faces, this will actually delete everything that is inside in this scene that is a mesh that is not visible. Highlighting it and then or selecting this option here and just turning it invisible in the scene doesn't actually create this process. You actually have to go and click this hide button after selecting everything in the scene like we did and then hide it. Then when you come here and select this delete hidden faces and you click export, this will then tell you that as an exported all of these things can't be imported, but we don't care. This is a game object, right? So we're now going to then select an empty location on our scene, and we're going to say this is our base character, and we're going to say base empty. And once this has finalized the export, and it should be fairly quick because there's no meshes, there's no textures, there's no anything for it to export out of it, we'll go take a look at our project and we'll see it import. So you can go through the standard process of utilizing um, the meshes and just pulling it into your scene and creating a mesh from that if you really want to. But I really recommend that you use the import characters button within inside of the Reallusion, because if you don't, you're going to run into some small issues as you go through. And this does a really good job at making sure that everything is set up exactly the way it needs to. And you can go through and modify some settings throughout here and make it import better. If you're using HDR or URP, then you would want to utilize some of these higher shader functions that are in this. So for now, you'll see that it is not processed because we do not have the little green that is next to this icon. So we're going to go ahead and just click Build Materials, and that's going to build everything that we need right away in our scene for us to start beginning to use this process. And you can see that it was fairly quick again because there is nothing on this object. So we can drag this object into the scene, go back to our hierarchy, and we can see that there's nothing in it. It's an empty object. However, if we expand it, we do see that we have our boxers. They're empty because our meshes were hidden. And we do see that we have our bone root that's here. This is the most important part because we're going to utilize this in the next video to reskin our items. Right now, we're just creating our exports so that we can do that. So why is this important? Well, this is important because what if you have multiple characters that you want to utilize the same skeleton? You can remap those characters onto the skeleton. You can remap the gear items that those characters have onto the skeleton. So this is a very powerful system for us to start creating our own characters with. So we want to make sure that we have our base item that we can work with, and then we can build our character from there. One of the things you'll notice here, though, is that we've got this naming convention in here where it says CC base bone root. The CC base bone root and CC base hip and base body will always be in here. However, it is named this because we haven't changed it to a game base item inside of Character Creator 4. Once we change it to a game based item, it will actually change and rename everything, and it'll look more like the standard root, pelvis, hip that we're used to inside of our scenes. So we can do that right now just by simply going out of here and clicking on the modify button, and then actually I'll have to go back to this, select that, and then click convert to game base. And you'll see that it says single material or multi-material. This is totally up to you. I would recommend single material and then setting it to either the highest resolution like 2048 or 4K, and not separating the eyelash material, leaving the eyelash material. And if you click convert, it'll tell you that it will go through the weights and do that, and you won't have the ability to make any modifications to the body anymore within the blend shapes. So once you convert this, all of these blend shapes are no longer available. Okay, so I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to work with this, and I'll let you convert your own models to game base. The difference is literally just the naming convention and the fact that you don't have the blend shaped weights anymore for your character. So I'm going to do the next process, which is actually split this character slightly. I'm not going to do the full process into the individual parts that you'll need for the character modularization system. So we're going to go back to our character. We're going to go back to our edit mesh. We're now going to come into our scene, and we're going to do the head first because this is the most easiest to tell you why we're going to do this. Um, so what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to go back to the face and we're going to show all. And we're going to go through each one of these objects and just make sure that we've hit show all in to make sure that we have every object that's in here um, visible. And it's because all of these items you can see are in the face and the head. And then, so once that's all visible, we're then going to select the body, highlight the body, hide it. We don't need the body. What we need is the head. We also want to hide the boxers. So we're going to hide the boxers. We don't want the boxers anymore, right? So you're going to come back over to this and it says range set, this quick select range set. Select this drop down, go into this folder, and you're going to see a series of items that are here. What they're going to provide to you is the body, the feet, the hand, the head, the leg, and that's it. You're going to have to create the other items, the lower legs, the lower arms, but it's fairly easy. For now, we're going to select the body. Sorry, not the body. We're going to select the head. And we're going to select that. And see how it says show. We actually need to be on the body. We need to select that. And you can see how it's selected that. And now it says show here. Now the head is selected. We're going to click off of that, and you can see we have just the head selected at this point. So now, when we go over to File, Export, FBX, Clothed Character, all of these settings need to be saved the same exact way. Go back. Oop, I might not have done that right. Put it on Unity. Export. Okay. We're back in here. Base head. And that's going to export. This one's going to take a little bit longer because there are meshes. So we have our face mesh, we have our eye mesh, we have our tongue mesh, we have our nose mesh, our teeth mesh, the eye occlusion, and the tear lines. So all of those meshes are available or are part of this mesh system at this point. And so now when we go back into Unity and we take a look at our project, we're going to see that has a whole new series of meshes and materials, and we're going to get this material is being used as a normal, and we're going to say fix, just automatically fix it. So at this point, what we have is we could see that in here we have a base head and an empty character. So this empty character that I dragged into the scene right here, if we drag this base head into it and drop it in, the base head will appear in the absolute location where it was supposed to be. So you can see that here we are at 000, and the character is, or the head is in the location in the base empty of where the original head was. So we'll build the body out slowly as we export these items. So this is where it starts getting tricky unless you build your own selections. So we want to now come in and hide this head again, right? We don't want this head anymore. We're done with that head. So, but now we've got to go back in and we're going to select. This is how I did this. You minus your selections. So if you have your body and you load your body, you can see that I have got just a torso here for this. So now we're going to select just show, but we don't want the eyes anymore. We're done with the eyes. So now we're going to hide that. We're going to hide the tongue. We're going to hide the teeth. We're going to hide the eyes. We're going to hide the tear lines. And now we've got just our body portion, right? We don't want our boxers because this is our naked body. And you can see that the boxers have extensions down below that are not associated with that, and that is the like there's no legs here. So if we put our boxers on, then we're going to have an issue with the leg issues. So we don't want those. We're going to keep those off, and then we're going to file, export, FBX, clothed character. Make sure we're on Unity 3D. All of these items again, and we're going to say mesh. Make sure it's mesh. Embed the textures. Delete the hidden faces. Export. Click OK. And then we're going to select base torso. Now back in Unity, when we select this, we'll see our base torso appear. Fix your issues with the normals. Drag your item into the same location, and you can see that it appears in the scene, in the exact location. So once it's there, then you can see that it works. But if you click play, it won't work, and it will not animate properly. And you will see this by going in here and selecting an animator, and then creating the animation controller, and you can go back to the scene, and you'll see that it's not animating. Nothing's animating. We'll get to that in the next video. Just want to show you that this is not an animation sequence. These are not skin mesh renders that are attached to the body at this point. They are just at this point individual items that you have brought in. So we'll continue that in the next video. So continue the process. Continue to export out your hands, your hips, your body, your individual parts into the individual components. You do not need to do anything with the nails and the tear ducts unless you absolutely want to, and because the modular system doesn't support that. We only support the upper arms, the lower arms, the legs, the mouth, and things like that. So for quick, easy access, you can see here that if you don't want the hips, we exported the hips out. We don't want the hips. So I selected a hip selection. And so what you could do with this is then you could create these selections where you can alter your stuff. Now you can come here and say hide, right? And so this is your hip selection. And this is when you select the body, and this is the body that they give you, or the axis they give you on the body. So that and then you'll have to come in here and manually select your items by coming in and selecting, holding control to select or deselect the items that you want to appear. And that's how you get your exports. So once you export it, this is something else I noticed. To be quick and easy, click here, select this, and copy this path, because the export path doesn't take you there. So if you then paste it here and hit enter, it'll take you into this folder, and then you can save your file into the original folder location where the original quick selections are. Otherwise, you will have to browse to that folder path every time. Again, the import takes you to the right location. The export does not. So that is it for this video. Oh, no, we'll go ahead and come back in here, and we will import these items over here into this so that they are properly imported. And we'll build the material for this one, and you can see that it will build the prefab, because we didn't build the prefabs. And you can see that they will get slightly better as it pulls the materials in. So you can see that the color changed on that material there, because this actually built a better material and better shader and then brought it in. So that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video where we'll go over the skin mesh renderers and how to actually attach them and bring them in to make one single character. Thank you and have a great day.